So out of nowhere, we have just got some pretty big news about the Battle Royale in Battlefield, and this is actually the very first time that they've ever officially said the words Battle Royale. So it is now officially confirmed. I know we got that trailer back at the reveal event, and that was quite obviously Firestorm 2.0, whatever it's going to be called, but it didn't say anything about it in that trailer that it was a Battle Royale. It is now officially confirmed, and I'm very excited for it. Albeit, if you want to hear all of my thoughts, there is a video that I did just last week, I think, where there are some downsides as well, and I discussed all of that, so be sure to go and check that out. But today I wanted to run you quickly through the community update that they've got here. Essentially, the Battle Royale is coming to labs, but there is some pretty good information in here about what the game is actually going to involve. So I thought I would bring it to you guys. Even if you're not involved in labs, this is very exciting for us. So as you can see, first and foremost, let me just make this all a little bit bigger for you guys so you can read along with me if you want. There is this image here, which this is, I guess, the first official image of the Battle Royale as well. Now, this doesn't look like any image that we've seen of any other map, so I'm pretty sure this is completely new. It is obviously concept art because you can see a lot of the details sort of missing. It very much looks like it is just concept, but it looks pretty interesting nonetheless. It does kind of give off that California vibe, which there's been a lot of rumors that the Battle Royale map will be essentially in LA, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, this kind of does look like that could be what we're looking at, but really there's not too much else to sort of go through here. It is just essentially an image of the map, and you can see the ring of fire coming around the map. So it's obviously going to be essentially Firestorm 2.0, whether they call it that, I don't know, but it is going to be the same ring of fire essentially as we had in Firestorm. I also just wanted to quickly mention, if any of you guys have played Dying Light, please leave a comment down below, because tell me this building does not remind you of a specific building in Dying Light. It is literally a copy paste of it, which is cool to see, but that is probably a very niche comment. Getting back into the actual article, as you can see, there's quite a bit here. I'm going to read through all of it just because there is actually pretty much all of this is very critical information, but I'll get through it as quick as I can. So it starts off saying, this week we begin testing a new addition to our Battlefield universe, a Battle Royale built on Battlefield's unique DNA. The information and feedback from players in Battlefield Labs will be incredibly valuable in helping to refine and deliver this experience. The details below are intended to help players understand our philosophy for this mode and to provide context for participants in the upcoming Battlefield Labs test so they can jump right into the action. We see a great opportunity to infuse the core Battlefield pillars of class-based squad play, tactical destruction, and vehicle combat into the Battle Royale genre to create a high stakes and adrenaline-pumping gameplay experience. This is Battlefield's twist on the classic formula, so you can expect to find all of the core principles of Battlefield taking place within this mode. Gadgets, explosives, destructible environments, and vehicles can all be used to secure the win. They then sort of go into some of the key elements here. So the map, Battlefield is no stranger to epic maps, and this all-new map has been built for the Battle Royale experience. It features a diverse array of tactical points of interest, each with distinct layouts and themes that offer unique gameplay opportunities. As for vehicles, players can find common transport vehicles around the map and even unlock powerful armored vehicles to turn the tide of battle. The intent is to offer more ways for players to traverse the map early on in the match and create interesting combined arms action in the process. Destruction will be everywhere in this mode, from creating pathways through walls to toppling buildings. We look forward to seeing players' ingenuity with destruction and how they use it to defeat their opponents. Squad play. For this test, each match will feature 100 players organised into 25 4-player squads, fighting to be the last one standing. Communicating with your squad through pings, text, or VoIP aims to boost the experience and enhance their tactical options. Lastly, it then mentions second chances between the support class revives and mobile redeploy options. There are multiple tools to keep your squad in the fight. Now, this bit here is by far the most interesting to me. They mentioned the deadliest ring in BR. They said, we set out to bring the most dangerous ring in gaming to Battle Royale that instantly kills players upon contact. Now, this was actually leaked or sort of rumored a while ago, so this isn't necessarily news. It is now confirmed though, which is great to see. And I will sort of touch on my thoughts on this as well, because it kind of goes two ways for me. Now, just to finish this off, they said, with urgent warnings as the fire approaches, soldiers will be pushed into more intense firefights as the game space continues to shrink. There's no jumping in and out of it, no using it for cover, no walking through it. If you get caught in it, you are done. We're excited to see how the ring affects the pace of the game and how it creates spontaneous showdowns. Now, I do have some thoughts on this because, like I said, it can kind of go one of two ways. Now, on one hand, I think this is cool. I think this is a great way to kind of sell your game to say, look, we've got the deadliest ring in Battle Royale. No other game does it like us. We've got a ring that kills you on the spot, and I think that is a cool kind of selling point to this game to make it a bit different from all of the other BRs, and not only just as a selling point but just literally gameplay wise. I think it's pretty cool, and I'm very keen to see how it plays. On the flip side of it though, I also do think that that's something I've really enjoyed when it comes to games like Warzone, is being able to use the gas to your advantage. And you see a lot of really smart gas plays where people will actually go into the gas on purpose, throw their enemies off, and just completely outsmart other teams where maybe they're in like a 1v3 and they're just not going to win, but they then do a crazy gas play and they actually end up pulling off a win. So for me, that's something that you're kind of losing with having essentially an instant kill circle in this Battle Royale, is that there is zero sort of outplay potential when it comes to the gas, or in this case, obviously fire. So I think there's kind of pros and cons with it. I think we really just need to see how it plays. You are losing some of that outplay potential, but on the flip side too, it actually just adds further to the stakes of like the circle's closing in and you must get through the center of the circle. You don't want to be hanging out near the edges of the gas or the flame. I need to definitely get used to calling it not the gas, because I'm one of those people with thousands of hours of Warzone. So that will take me some time to get used to, but that's something you're not going to want to do in this game. You're not going to want to hang near that fire, because if you get caught in a gunfight and then you're pinched and it's getting really close to you, that is very negative. Whereas in Warzone, for example, with the gas, that still isn't the greatest idea, but it's not an instant kill. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think they do need to do something different with this BR though, so I think this is actually a cool way to do that. And yeah, I'm very keen to, there's no doubt going to be leaks of, I mean, there's already been leaks of the BR, but it's mostly just been people walking around the map and stuff. I am keen to see like a full leak of an actual entire match where you can see all of this, because yeah, to me it is all very exciting, even though I know a lot of people have issues with the BR, and that's fair. Like I said, go watch my previous video on it because I do touch on some of the negatives, but overall I'm definitely very excited. Now we're still only about freaking halfway through this this article, so I'll get back to reading. They mention here classes, training, and traits. Classes, which is interesting. I mentioned that again in my previous video, but I didn't actually think they'd do it. Each squad gets to plan and choose which of the classes they will bring to the battle. From a balanced squad of all 4 classes to a focused squad that is all 1 class, your team will use the unique strengths and weaknesses of their class to adapt and overcome the unique tactical scenarios they encounter in the Battle Royale experience. Once a match begins, players are not able to change their class for the rest of that match. Players start the match with 2 default gadgets from their chosen class. During each match, players level up by earning XP through a variety of methods, such as defeating an opposing player, bonus for finishing off a squad, or completing missions. Be on the lookout for intel cases. Finding these is crucial as they will provide XP to the whole squad. As players level up through their class's training, they will gain access to new traits that enhance their chosen class and give both them and their squad a tactical edge in the match. One example would be the Assault class being faster in equipping an armor plate, which makes them harder to defeat in their next or current firefight. In Battlefield Labs, we'll be watching how players use the classes to build the most effective squads and how their unique traits contribute throughout each game. For example, just how critical is the support class's supply crate for maintaining ammo, and how effective are the engineer's abilities when using or fighting against vehicles. So this whole sort of squad-based, I guess, element to it with the classes, I'm actually very interested to see how that plays out. I didn't necessarily think they'd do that. Even though I mentioned it in that last video, I kind of thought it'd be cool if they can pull that off, but I don't necessarily know how you would do that. It seems like they are just fully going for the same class system that we have in All Out Warfare. So I think that's pretty cool. It could have downsides as well. It could lead to like some serious metas in this BR, which, to be fair, it's gonna happen anyway. In a battle royale, there's always a meta, which is understandable, but this could just lead to like every single player picking the same class, and then it's kind of pointless, and then you may be losing out on potential other elements, I guess, to the game in terms of certain gadgets and stuff like that. So there could be downsides, but I think if they pull it off, it could be really cool. And again, it's another way that it sets itself apart. Like in Warzone, you don't have that. Everyone just loads in and everyone is kind of equal. In this, everyone is actually going to be slightly different, which, yeah, again, has pros and cons to it, but it'll be cool to see how that plays out. They then move on to the arms race. It says, throughout each match, players will explore the map, complete missions, and battle for loot to define their arsenal. There are 5 tiers of weapons to loot, along with attachments, throwables, for example, grenades, gadgets, so RPGs, and strike packages, and their example is an airstrike. So that's pretty cool. That is kind of like the kill streak sort of system in Warzone, which I do like that, so I think that's a lot of fun. There's also then armor and upgrade kits and custom drops of favorited weapons, which is something I'm very excited about because that's something that Warzone to me did so well. And don't get me wrong, there is the downside of having like really strong metas where kind of everyone uses the same gun. That is the only downside to it. But I also do think that that can sometimes beat just complete luck of the draw, where if Joe Blow on the other team just has the best weapon in the game by chance that he found it, that can be kind of annoying because it's like I might be the better player than him, but he's got a 2 times better gun than I have, and it can be really frustrating. So again, there's pros and cons to that, but I'm a big fan of having that sort of system. These items can be found across the experience through general loot crates, class-specific crates, unlocking armored trucks, mission rewards, or looting defeated enemies. Missions will have squads try to complete objectives that offer extra rewards to gain a competitive edge over their opponents. Tasks range from unlocking high-value caches to planting explosives to eliminating mission-critical targets. Mission details will outline the available rewards like a weapons cache, a vehicle key, or mobile redeploy unit, leaving it up to each squad to decide if the risk is worth the potential reward. Once the mission objective is complete, rewards are airdropped in, so squads should stay alert for others who may attempt to steal them. So that's a really cool take on that too. This is essentially the contract system from Warzone. Although they've done a few different things here, I do think that a lot of the stuff they've mentioned is just honestly straight out of Warzone, which I'm not that mad about it, but also I kind of wish that they would be a little bit more unique. But I think this last part is pretty unique, that the rewards you get are actually airdropped in. So you can go and do a mission, it could get airdropped in, but then you could get like third partied at the time where you're focusing on getting that airdrop and someone comes in and kills you and steals it, which if you're not a BR person, that probably sounds like the worst experience ever. I know that a lot of people don't like BRs, and having that where you've done all the work and someone just kills you and now you're back in the menu and they've got your reward, that probably sounds terrible. To me, that is part of the charm of a BR, having those like almost really shit moments where it's like everything just, the shit hits the fan, and it's sometimes is really frustrating, but that's weirdly what makes these games so good to me. So that is a cool take on it, that you can go and do a mission, and when your reward's getting airdropped in, like people are going to see that dropping on the map and go, let's go target those people and steal that. And to me, that's actually a really cool sort of take on that. These missions are crafted to challenge your squad's teamwork and reward precise execution under pressure, with the potential to shift the momentum of battle. Loot, armor, and how players engage with missions are key to the flow of play, and we can't wait to see how players connect and push these areas of gameplay in Battlefield Labs. And they sort of finish off here just by saying, testing this new mode and all of its features with the community is the true power of Battlefield Labs. We're excited to hear about players' experiences as they explore the ins and outs of this Battle Royale done the Battlefield way. We look forward to sharing more details after the testing is complete and we've reviewed the feedback from players. So that is essentially it for all of this news. To me, that was actually a really good read. A lot of the blog posts they do often are a lot of just like fluff. They'll just give you a couple of bits of information and then it's generally just like words at the end of the day. But it felt like everything in here was actually really sort of telling about what we can experience in this Battlefield Battle Royale. I don't know what they're going to call it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Do you think it, like for me, I just kind of feel like it's going to be called Firestorm 2, but they might avoid the name Firestorm because obviously the first one wasn't successful. Even though it was actually decent, it wasn't successful, and I don't know if they'd want to like bring back those negative memories, I guess. So I'm keen to hear your thoughts on what it'll be called, but to me, all of this sounds really interesting. I think that there's a lot of stuff in here that is unique enough, like the essentially instant kill ring, the classes and stuff like that. I think, and especially also destruction. I barely even talked about the destruction. That is a huge difference to pretty much every other BR. I know, again, Firestorm did have it, but that you almost can't include that in these discussions because it was like, it was barely even played. No one played Firestorm. So there is a lot of stuff about this Battle Royale that if they land it really well and it's got, you know, the class system is really good and the destruction's great and the ring works really well, where it actually just adds chaos because you can't go near the ring of fire or else you're gonna die. If all of that hits really well, we could genuinely be on for an all-timer of a battle royale here. I genuinely mean that. This could have everything it needs to be like up there with essentially peak Warzone, which is insane. I never thought I would say that about a Battlefield BR, but I think that could be possible. I'm not sitting here thinking that will definitely happen. I think the odds are against them. It's pretty hard to break into that BR scene. And realistically, I'd probably bet more on this being a flop than an absolute banger, but it all sounds really interesting to me. My main thing with this is just, as long as this doesn't come at the cost of all-out warfare, that needs to be the focus. They cannot let the BR like ruin the main game, because then we're back to where we were in 2042, where they need to like rebuild the franchise again. None of us want that. They've done a really good job so far with Battlefield 6. The beta, like all of that, everything felt great. Everyone seems to be happy, at least for the most part. There's little areas of critique for sure, but like it feels like we're all happy that we're actually finally back. And so as keen as I am for the BR, don't let this come at the cost of the main game. That's my only like requirement. If this is essentially just a side game mode and it does really well, I think that's great for the franchise. And I'm really keen to see how it plays. And I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on any of the leaks that no doubt come out after this. So that is essentially it for today's video. I'm keen to hear all of your thoughts on the BR down below, so be sure to leave a comment. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.